All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Symbaroum tonight. We are picking up after a 1 week break after our first character death as well. And we're going to pick up in the immediate aftermath because we could have another character death right now at the start of the ep as we dive in and we see what's going to happen. But we'll also at some point meet who Kipser is playing. Not right away. We're not going to have her just parachute in. She'll be like, you guys have room for one more. Like, we'll find a way to bring her in.
She was undercover in the cold all along.
She's in a pantry closet.
Yeah.
She got chickens on her belt. It's just like Frontier Scone now. Oh, there you go.
No one will remember her name when she dies in 2 episodes.
That's so.
So, Jeremy, we were talking about this the other day after Frontier Scum. Melissa has had like 6 character deaths in like the past 7 months or something like that. She's got multiple character deaths. She had like 3 on Delta Green, and she's got 3 on Frontier Scum. Now, Frontier Scum is like a 9-episode campaign, and she somehow lost 3 characters. So that's what she did. So anyhow,
that's amazing.
Yep.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's good.
Well, and like it's supposed to be like easy to roll up characters and stuff, but no one else died. So
That's true.
I had all 3 of the only 3 deaths during the campaign.
Look, you took 3 for the team, and we appreciate it. That was great. Yeah. We didn't remember any of your characters. We're not going to give any of your characters money from what we managed to abscond with. But hey, thanks. Appreciate
I didn't even meet one of your characters. You literally lived and died while I was not there.
That's true. There's 2 sessions, and she lived and died. It was so great. It was fantastic. Amazing. It was great.
Good times.
It was a lot of fun. All right. Speaking of a lot of fun, hopefully we'll try to have some tonight. But before we do that, oh my God, I just almost killed myself. Before we do that, why don't we go ahead and do a quick summary, and then we'll dive in. And we are still in initiative. We're going to see if we can get Madjac back up without any more bad stuff happening. So last time around, you all imposed upon the poor drunken Boleto. Who and you started using his home to basically spy on this neighboring house that you suspected of being part of whatever kind of conspiracy or group or whatever that has been attacking and harassing Sarvola, because Atolia and Rowena had seen some of the perpetrators, the arsonists, enter that tall building, and it was Jinzo and Gwydion who managed to track down Boleto at the suggestion of Father Sarvola, because he was sort of a loose friend and kind of follower kind of deal. And you found him drunk. You took him back to his home. He was very confused. And you all eventually just kind of hang out inside. This was also just before this, though. None of your characters, unfortunately, I think know this. Atolia did track another one of these culprits back to their potential apartment near the Black Boot Tavern, but I don't think anyone actually has the address or knows that information, at least not the specificity of it. Inside the house, it was past midnight. You started to debate whether or not you're going to go into this building or not. And it was a lot of arguments here and there. And some might say Jinzo made the call here as he decided, I'm going to go. And everybody else followed. So really, Kipser, if you think about it, it's Long's fault. So then you guys crossed that shared backyard. Atolia and Madjac, you split and went to the exterior cellar entrance. And Rowena, Gwydion, Jinzo, and Dismas, never forget Dismas, you very noisily climbed to the second story. It was very noisy. So you could say, Kipser, that it was Jeremy's fault, is what I'm saying. For alerting, for all that kind of stuff. It's there inside that second story. You had a kind of a brief glimpse before like the shit hit the fan of this large table, like a meeting table with all these different high back chairs and a sigil and all that kind of stuff, like a noble sigil. But down in the cellar, Atolia and Madjac, you found a locked cellar door, tried to get inside, drew the attention of a voice that was in the darkness. Atolia, you took on the image of a rioter. You concocted this story about forgetting your kit. Madjac had his bow drawn. Like, there's a lot of these weird little things that made this person a little suspicious of what was going on, and so they attacked you. And he was very well trained. Quickly brought you down, in fact, and then closed in on Madjac, so Madjac couldn't get his shots off. The other members up on the second floor heard the commotion, and they started to race down, but it was also very dark. They only had like 2 lanterns, and so they had to look for a way down, and it took them a little longer than they would have probably liked, but they eventually found a trapdoor in the kitchen. They got down into the cellar, but by the time they arrived, Atolia had already bled out. but did in fact make one request to Madjac to speak with Toli's mother. But then the rest of you came in, you surrounded the swordsman, and it was still really, really difficult as he was using the close quarters, the door frame, not letting you really get a lot of flanking angles on him. He was redirecting attacks. He was parrying. He was doing all this. He was extremely well trained. Madjac went down eventually. And then the swordsman actually knocked Rowena prone, and it looked really bad for a moment. She didn't actually die, but she was trying to get over to Madjac to heal. But eventually you did manage to overwhelm. Jinzo got the killing blow, but it wasn't by much. So we're going to pick up right in the wake of this. We're going to keep it in structured time just because there is a bleed out happening with Madjac. So Madjac, I believe you are 1-1 in terms of like
1-1.
Good and bad. So the basic rules here is you just have to essentially dodge a nat 20 and you got to dodge another one. But it is Rowena's turn first. So Rowena, it is your turn. You're a little bit away. So you're still a move action away. What do you want to do?
Let him bleed
And-
out.
Screw that guy. Fuck you, guy. I don't like you anyway.
And I think her first reaction is just going to sort of just to, this was just so close. And like her first look is going to be to Jinzo. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. All right. Madjac. And so then she's just going to she's lying on the ground, and she's going to kind of like roll over, go through her bag and find one of these mushroom herbal cures.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's just going to crawl over to Madjac. And she's kind of thinking about whether or not how she's going to handle this. So in player perspective, I can either just give the herbal cure just to pop him up automatically for one, or I can do a Medicus test, which is a cunning roll, and then it would roll, I'd have to pass, and then a d8. So she is a safe bet kind of person. So she's just going to go over to him and basically just sort of like crush this thing up, just kind of like open his mouth and just kind of like push it in.
This is where we talked about this ahead of time, and Aaron specifically said we should go with rules as written. So we're going to play it rules as written. You are still a movement action away, okay, to get to him. You also need to take an action to draw or use that elixir. And so you have to draw it, you have to use it, you have to move to him. All these things kind of have to happen, which means that Madjac, we have to dodge one more death roll. Just don't roll a natural 20.
Do it. Let's do it.
And you'll be okay.
Let's see it. Is it going to be a 20?
It
is not.
It is not.
Oh my goodness.
It is not. But you see, Reyna, as you're fiddling through you're trying to find the right, you have like a group of these mushrooms and these different ingredients and things like that. But you have to make sure you use the right one, because heaven forbid you give him poison, or heaven forbid you give him hallucinogens. So you're like, there's a pause where you're like, you realize you almost gave him the wrong thing. You put it back in and you pull it out. But in that time, you see like him cough once more. And you see this big, dark, just blossom of blood come up out of his mouth. Sounds like he's choking on his own blood at this point. Jinzo and Gwydion, both of you will get actions as well. So Gwydion, you're up first. Is there anything you're doing here?
I mean, Gwydion doesn't know anything about how to treat anything like that. I think, and also because he's not a trained medic at all, he probably goes over to Atolia, doing the whole like...
Yeah. So you start trying to like apply some kind of CPR. Yeah. There's like, even I would say to you, like even a non-trained medic, like you're a fighter, like you've been in combat situations, you've seen dead bodies, like you've caused dead bodies, what happens when a body doesn't move. Yeah. But you can tell there's not any movement is movement that you're causing essentially by like, whether it's some sort of rudimentary CPR or whatever it might be. Like it's just, that's the only thing you're seeing. There's nothing else. Okay.
If I just punch her in the heart really hard, it'll jog something.
And we could say you're doing that, in sort of a desperate way, but nothing seems to bring her back. Jinzo, anything you doing?
Yeah, I'm standing over the fighter, over gripping my sword, catching my breath, high on the adrenaline. This is probably the first person I've really killed. It's only been like Abomination or Beast.
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just staring at him.
Give me a vigilant test as you look down at him. So we're doing this, we're staying in structure. At a certain point, if you fail, we can always look into
I
this more.
succeeded with 10.
Okay. So there's a few things you would notice looking down at him. He's wearing very basic leather armor that has been scuffed up. At this point, you can see the work of your weapons, Gwydion, Rowena, Madjac. You can see all of the different runes and such. You can see that there is basically a brown, almost like a very dark brown cloak that he has. It's all kind of tangled up in him at this point. He doesn't, you don't recognize him. He's not someone you can say you've ever seen before. Two things catch your attention. His fencing sword, which is still in his hand. And you can see that there is it's like think of it like a rosary, like a small kind of beaded bracelet that's wrapped around his wrist, but then also kind of very loosely draped along like the hilt of the sword as well. And you can see that dangling from that there is a small silver coin insignia, not unlike the one you saw from Anadea's, if you've ever shown Jinzo that. But you can tell it has the sun symbol and such to it. It's a little bit different in design, but it has the basic symbol of Prios, something very revered. And all of this is wrapped around his sword wrist. It's wrapped around the hilt, like he was holding it as he was fighting as well, but loosely so it wouldn't interfere too much. That's what you see.
And I'll just keep on looking at it.
Okay. So then we'll come back down to Rowena. Rowena, you're right there. You have the elixir out. He's still alive. He's choking. What do you do?
Just stay with me. Just stay with me. I almost gave you the wrong one. That almost would have been bad. Okay, here we go. Open wide. Crush, crush, crush. Drop, drop, drop. Close jaw.
Okay.
Just patting on him, waiting for the mushroom to sort of dissolve a little bit in his mouth.
And doesn't take very long, in fact, as you try to dissolve, because we're using that effectively as an herbal cure. It's essentially what it is. Yep. As you kind of sweep away some of the blood and you try to kind of get the cure down his throat a little bit, there's a couple beats go by, your heartbeat very heavy, thump, thump, thump. But then you watch as some of the cuts that he has, on his face or on his arm, you can see the skin. You can see them slowly starting to stitch themselves back up. And Madjac, your eyes pop open, and you see Rowena over top of you.
Oh, thank goodness.
Rowena. Thank God, I could smell the rancid breath of Prios breathing down my neck.
That was, oh my goodness. I'm so glad that Atolia gathered those when we were down below. I'm so very glad that now that you're okay. She's looking over at Gwydion, just kind of furiously trying to save Atolia. Madjac, I don't think Atolia made it.
No, I could see her, the life passing out of her eyes. I've got to take her back to her mother. At least take word back to her. She deserves that much at least.
Of course. Here, and she'll kind of stand up and give you a hand.
He scoops phlegm and blood out of his mouth, pats you on the shoulder. Thanks for the help, Up. I'll be fine in a minute. You don't have to worry about me anymore.
Okay. And she's still sort of getting used to this, that you only need a little bit and then everything will be okay.
Yeah, he's probably never in front of you.
You guys have never really seen it like this. Yeah.
It's been a small cut here or there, which might have been excused, but he's got hefty stab wounds where this guy just was poking him left and right, and they're coming together pretty quickly. Okay, so at this point we'll break out of initiative. So you can do whatever you want, whatever order, we're good to go. So it's just to reset the scene. It is very late. It's maybe 2:00 in the morning, something like that. And we are in the cellar Madjac, half his body was probably outside the cellar, still near the steps that went down from the backyard that was shared with Boleto and a couple other buildings as well. It's a 3-story building. Dismas you've left bumping around somewhere upstairs. And in this cellar around you, it looks very much like a root cellar, like it's just for storage, but when you look around, it doesn't look like there's much here. Like it definitely seems dusty. Doesn't look like it's been being actively used by like a person living here. You don't see any food that's being stored. You don't see jars of food that have been maybe pickled or fermented. You don't see any dry goods, anything stacked down here. Like it looks like it's in disuse. There's various crates and such, but nothing in it seems fresh. And so that's where we're at right now. So we've got Atolia on the ground as well. We've got the body of this man, this swordsman you fought. So what do you guys do?
Jinzo, did you search this guy?
He's the first sound I hear and breaks me out of this just trance-like state. He's got beads for use.
Anything else? Any packets of paper, anything on him that might give us an idea who else he works with or for?
Or maybe a fancy fucker like that has a weapon with a maker's mark on it.
You can take a look. I'll go for the beads and let him do his thing.
So
I'll search his body.
Okay. So yeah, there is nothing incriminating. Like obviously he's got no notes, no commands, no orders. All he has is that sword, his armor, which is basic. There's no insignia on it, no suggestion that this is part of a specific military organization or town watch group. Like it definitely looks like he is dressed in a way to try to blend in.
He was being careful.
The sword looks like it has some age to it. Like it doesn't look like anything freshly made. Like if you had to guess, you would probably think that this is some kind of heirloom or hand-me-down, but it is well maintained. Like you can see that this is a guy who very much cared for his equipment, extremely sharp, well kept, all that. But the only thing that seems at all revealing about him is that small bit of beads and that little token, that silver emblazoned design. Again, it's different than what you've seen on Anadea's corpse when you found her. This one has a slightly different design. I think only Rowena has Lore Master. Is that correct? Just want to make sure that's true. Okay.
I think so, yeah.
So Rowena, you could roll a cunning test on it since you have Lore Master.
I would like to do that, and I would succeed with a result margin of 9.
Fantastic. Okay, so taking a look at it, and it has the usual, like it has a very clear and blazing sun in the distance, but what you notice is that around the edge of it, like very faintly etched into it, you see a phrase. It says light and darkness. And it's kind of crafted in a very like it's not crafted crudely. It's crafted with care, and you can see its stand. But with your roll, you might piece together that is a phrase that, or that's a phrase that you could perhaps associate with convent schools. So if you know, like across Ambria and such, there are different convent schools for different purposes. It's essentially a religious upbringing school, and this one particularly you think is the of the last light, which is in Indaros.
So she'll can be looking at this token, and she'll kind of share to Madjac and Jinzo, are kind of closest. Keep hearing this phrase, I think, light and darkness, and I don't think this is the first time we've heard it, but I see it here. I think this is over that school over in Daros, Last Light. Might explain the fervor with which these folks seem to carry their beliefs. And she'll kind of look over to Gwydion. Gwydion, I don't think we can do anything more for Atolia.
I know. There's a bunch of shit, like a fancy table. The place where the old drunk told us they were meeting. We found the room. There's probably more to be found and learned there.
Yes, I do. And she'll sort of look down to Atolia. I'm sorry, friend. We should look around here before we decide what to do.
And she'll sort of
trail off at that. And you had mentioned that there was something to look at, and so she just sort of like is looking down at Atolia and just sort of stops talking and walks away a bit.
Madjac, he looks around and he goes, This duelist had to have been down here for some reason. If there was nothing down here, why would he be here? Maybe there's a false wall or something before we move back up into the house. So he'll start tapping walls and things like that.
Give me a vigilance test. Yeah. All right.
Succeed with a margin of 10.
Okay.
Ooh.
So what you find is that the cellar itself is like I described it before. There's crates and stuff. It looks in disuse. But you do notice that as you push away one of the stacks of crates, there is kind of a small hole in the wall. And when you shine a light into it, you see there's like a small little cubby where there is a bed, like a not a bed, but like a sack on the ground filled. Looks like he was sleeping here. Like this is where he was sleeping, not up in the 3-story building, but hidden away in this small little cubby. Peeking your head in, looking around, you see nothing other than like an occasional, like you can see scribbled on the wall here and there, like various like scripture, like nothing out of the ordinary, just usual prayers that might see, morning prayers, evening prayers. But you can definitely tell that he was sleeping in here.
Well, looks like this is where he was bivouacked.
I'll go check inside then. Gwydion, do you want to show me what you were talking about? I don't think I was paying attention.
Okay.
Do you take her? You take Atolia with you?
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not leaving her.
Yeah, before he does, would Atolia, the short time I knew her, she would talk. I know she mentioned a mother, but not really a father. Maybe like in the mumblings, would she have some sort of necklace or ring that I could pass along?
Kipser. This is, don't worry about character sheet. Would there be any trinkets or things that she might have on her?
Atolia doesn't really maintain a lot of trinkets. She definitely, like, as you kind of search her, you do find like she's got her entire life savings in her money pouch, and I probably know she would have wanted her mom to have that at least. She wasn't rich enough to have any memento.
Okay. So basically anything in her inventory you guys can take and divvy or give to Atolia's mom as you see fit. All of that can kind of move over. I'm trying to see if there's anything of particular note. There's some ingredients, and then there's some bandages and some an herbal cure. So another herbal cure. So those might be of significant use right now. Because the other thing I want to remind everybody is that Jinzo and Gwydion and Rowena, I think all of you took significant damage. I know Madjac, we focus on Madjac because he was dying, but the rest of you are extremely injured. Before you start exploring some more, and I'll repeat, you do hear some like bumping around and the sort of the comedic sound of Dismas cursing upstairs somewhere. He still doesn't know. Do any of you look to try to get patched up before you continue forward?
I'll do my I'll probably fail my resolute test, but
fair enough. Go get it, Jeremy.
Good job.
That a boy.
There we go.
Boy.
Every time.
Continue.
Oh, successful failure. Way to
So
go.
ridiculous. So crazy.
I'm
It's so
consistent.
weird.
At
Okay.
14, it's not that
I know 14's a pretty good stat.
hard.
Okay.
But for you,
Yeah, it's okay.
it's like rolling 12 dice.
Okay. All right. So if that's the case, if there's nothing else, you start moving upstairs. Those of you who want to, you listen in at first. Maybe you kind of hold an ear out the door, see if there's any. You don't hear anything of great commotion. Like you don't hear the sounds of voices outside. So maybe you close the cellar door at that point. You start going up the stairs. First floor. Again, no interior light. You just got your lantern. You get up into the kitchen. The trap door is how you came down. There was that sort of small bit of furniture you got to slide over. Nothing's in particularly clean, but there's all sorts of these like faded tapestries. Like you can tell they've been in disuse for quite some time. Got these dark black curtains hanging from the walls and the windows and such. Definitely no one wanted light in here. The main room down here, the biggest room on this first floor, you can see there's a large dusty heath. You can see that there are some shelves nearby with what looks like some old, like unused crockery and things like that. There's this sort of the corridor is fairly drafty, and you can see it leads to that staircase that goes up to the second story, and then there's the front entrance that you know is effectively barred. So you would need to really like hammer it to get it open, the front gate area. So. So you do continue? You just want to go straight up to what you saw before going in?
I think so, yeah. Especially if Dismas is up there. It'll be
Okay.
just my luck. Like, we leave him behind for like 5 minutes, get up there, and he's stabbed.
Yeah, you go up to the second floor, and there's a third floor after this, but you get up to the second floor, and you just find a body. Big pool of blood on the ground. No, I'm just kidding. But no, you hear him cursing, and like you see him in the hall, like as the lights, like he's like, finally! Oh my god! I couldn't see anything. I bumped myself so many times. Oh god, it hurts so bad. And then he sees you carrying Atolia. Gwydion. What happened? What'd you do? What did you do?
I didn't get there in time. I didn't do anything, unfortunately. She was already dead.
And you see he scrambles up, kind of out, like you see him still like doofus, like still say ouch as he gets up. And he kind of comes over and he's like, "You sure? Like, hey, you can heal her, right?" And kind of like points over at Raina.
I can
You're one
do
of them
some healing
Ordo
sometime.
people, you all spells and stuff.
We can, but she was too far gone. Unfortunately, we went in the front and the danger was in the back, and we just couldn't get there fast enough. And
Oh my god! You can see he's genuinely upset. She saved my life.
Me too.
Oh. And he just kind of like that kind of pats her on the shoulder. Like he's an idiot, but he's a sweet idiot as he pats her on the shoulder, and his you can see he's kind of getting choked up. A couple tears start to come in his eyes.
And I would say that like affects Rowena, where she sort of has that kind of sympathetic response where like she's kind of averting her eyes a little bit as her eyes sort of well. And then Gwydion, you said there was a something to show us up
There's
here?
a table over there with like a big, I don't know, what do you call it? A coat of arms or something, like a big fancy symbol on it.
There's a
this is
dresser
also-
too. I found like a cabinet or a dresser in there too. It almost fell on top of me.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you come show me? Gwydion is carrying Atolia. We can go look at the
I'm fine.
dresser and the table. Yes, we'll go look at that.
Okay. Is everyone together? Is anyone? I just want to make sure. Is everyone together? Are we splitting off or anything? Jinzo.
We'll stick together this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I got a level 20 monster up on the third floor, so I just want to be sure. Okay.
Nice. Okay, good.
You go in, and it's a salon. It's a meeting area, right? And you can see a huge wooden table, and you can see that there is a coat of arms, and Gwydion's not wrong. And now you have like the benefit of 2 lanterns, so there's much more light in the room. And there's a jumping salmon that's painted in red, blue, and silver, and it's kind of got a glossy lacquer. None of you, unfortunately, have any connections to nobles, so none of this like immediately catches your attention. Meaning like you don't know it off the top of your heads. Rowena, like you would know that essentially the leaping salmon, the jumping salmon, is significant and probably is a depiction of house. But then also the silver, like that's usually a depiction of hierarchy. So whether or not something is depicted in silver or versus gold, that's kind of the idea. So you're looking at so you also would know where you can find this out. Like so there's a couple different places where you can consult this if you're not nobles yourselves, like if you didn't have to memorize that as children or something. But there is the Queen's Legation is a place you would be able to go, which is literally the official representative of the Queen Quinthia in Thistlehold. And they have a library in the cellar, like this archive in the cellar that tracks the history of various houses and peoples and things like that within Ambria and prior to Ambria, back south of the Titans. So that's a place you could potentially go. It does cost a thaler per hour to access those archives, but you, having probably been there before, might have a connection or two. The other possibility is the Hall of Knights. If this was associated with any particular knight, maybe it could be found, but I don't necessarily know that Rowena would have any connections there. So that's...
Rowena's going to kind of like sniff a little bit and kind of wipe her eye, and she's going to kind of go through her bags and find one of her journals. And she's going to say, okay, Dismas, can you just stand right there? And she's going to kind of like do the thing where she kind of puts her journal kind of on his back while she kind of draws this little symbol that she sees and, kind of marks the colors. And okay, so we've got the jumping salmon. Okay, I think I know who I can go and I can ask, and we'll get Gwydion. This will be very useful. I'm glad that you saw this. And she's going to draw it and kind of just giving Dismas something to do, kind of standing there while she's kind of using him as sort of like a little standing desk.
Okay, so there's the table to look around. If you want to look at the table, you can see that there's some embroidery on the chairs, like some embroidered for the cushion parts. There's that dresser that Dismas is sort of pointing off to. It's a fairly big room as well, if you just want to do any sort of vague searching. So just let me know what everyone's up to. What you thinking?
I'll go search for what Dismas pointed out.
Okay. So you head over there, and there are it's a 3-dresser drawer, or 3-dresser setup, right? And they're all fairly big and bulky, wooden. It's not in great shape. Like, it doesn't look like anyone's kind of kept up with like lacquering it or oiling it or whatever, but it is still at least functional. You can tell just really quickly going through it, like, if you just start at the top and work your way down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the upper drawer, as you pull it open, you can see that there are books. Like, but when I say books, it's not like necessarily published books, or it's more like journals and log books and things like that. And so you can see there's a few of them. They all, like, if you start flipping through them really quickly, just to kind of get a feel for what they are, it does look like it's like you can see some of the dates that are being referenced in there, Gwydion. Even as a barbarian, you've been living in Thistlehold for a while. You understand the calendar, the Ambrian calendar. They seem to reference a lot of places and times from the Great War, meaning 20 plus years ago. Okay, so a long time. And you can see that it seems to be talking about various people, like these petty squad of nobles and things like that. As you're looking through, go ahead and give me like a cunning test, Gwydion. Okay. So you'll probably crush this because it's,
of course,
yeah.
Come on.
Naturally.
Exactly. He needed
cunning, of course. I got it.
Needed a 9. You rolled 5. So okay.
This is the way.
Okay. You see that a couple names start popping up here and there. You're not sure in what context unless you've fully read through this, but a couple names pop up, and you definitely get the sense that like this is about these aren't priests themselves, but rather nobles, petty nobles, kind of lower house nobles, or like second, third son, that kind of deal, and that seem to be working with the Sun Church in some way. Like they're an armored squad of soldiers, and you see a couple references to names. Cargoy Salamos is a name that pops up, and you also see a pair of brothers by the name of Atio, Serix, and Heraclio. Those are the two names that pop up. But otherwise, there's like a lot of writing. It's written painstakingly. It would take time for you to read through it all and see if there's anything. But it does look like it's like
I'll let Rowena do that later. That's
okay. Second drawer that you open up doesn't seem to have anything in it that isn't broken. So it just looks like this, like whatever is probably normally stored in here, you would think is probably got removed at some point. It's not here anymore. The third drawer, the bottom drawer, you can see there are 5 army coats. And when I say army, again, Ambrian, not barbarian, of course. Looking at them, Gwydion, you're pretty sure that once upon a time they were white, and they have like yellow and red linings here and there. But you can also tell, like, since they're kind of old, they're fairly discolored and they're patched over and over. Like they've been constantly fixed and maintained and fixed and maintained. And on the front, you can see 2 symbols that are one of them is easily recognizable, Gwydion, which is the sinking sun of Prios. Okay, it's in yellow. It's very common. The other one, I'm going to roll over your cunning test. You would know is House Kuhanor's, which is the Queen's house, Queen Corinthia's house. Flaming pine and red.
Rin, isn't this flaming pine? Isn't that the Queen's people?
Those to you, Rowena.
Yes.
Roll cunning test. You have lore master. You give me a cunning test.
Okay.
If you want.
There's more me
talking
being
about
like,
old war nonsense. They get these old military uniforms.
I don't. And she's kind of wiping her eyes again a little bit. I'm not sure. I failed.
Yeah. You would recognize Kuhanor's symbol, no doubt, and you would recognize the Prios. You would recognize all that, but until you dig into the books, there's probably nothing like extraordinarily. That would probably come to your mind. And plus, I don't like you're fairly. Like, Rowena's fairly young, right? Like she's 20s or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So she doesn't have any actual experience in the war. Like she's not old enough to have experienced it. So okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Gwydion. While he's going through the dresser, Rowena, you're doing the sketch. Jinzo or Madjac, are you two doing anything?
Yeah, I'll check out the table and the chairs.
Madjac would.
What would Madjac do?
And Madjac would just be looking at the area, the whole room, just kind of scouting the whole room.
All right, Madjac, give me a vigilant, but let me know your effect because there is a penalty. I think I'm going to get into the habit of not, like in some cases when it's like secret, of not necessarily saying what the penalty is. And I'll just go by your effect margin.
Succeeded with a margin of 8.
Okay, so you just start circling around the room, checking for like anything, any hidden doors, traps, floorboards, that kind of thing. Jinzo, you said you're going to the table.
Yes.
The table itself is sort of already been, like you can see Rowena already kind of sketched it out. But one of the things you do notice is that on 5 of the chairs, you can see that there are embroidered monograms. And they all have initials, as if it's like this is their seat. Like this is where they sit. Some of the other ones do not. And so here are the initials. KS, SA, RG, ED, IB. KS, SA, RG, EDIB.
Possible initials here.
Okay. So as you take note of that, we'll say, Madjac, you're looking around as well. And the walls are intact, nothing kind of out of the ordinary. Some kind of cracked. Some of them are cracked here and there, but nothing kind of seems out of the way with them. There's no weird little vents or pockets here or there. However, you, in one of the corners of the room, you do feel, as your foot falls, a little bit of a creak. And you realize, like, one of the panels on the floorboards is loose. And, like, you feel it, compared to all the other ones, this doesn't seem like just wear and tear. And specifically where it's at, it probably shouldn't be loose. It looks like it's probably one of the more firm places. But you're pretty sure this might be like something underneath.
So Madjac will lean over, take out his dagger, and then lever the board up, but in such a way that he's pulled himself back a little bit in case it's trapped or something.
Okay. So as you pull it back, you see hidden in the floorboards, in this little pocket, is a bottle, like an alchemical bottle of some kind. It has it doesn't have a ton of liquid in it, but it certainly looks like there are, maybe 5 or so drops inside. Very small bottle. It is like a kind of a glassy crystal. It does not look like anything you saw Atolia messing with or Rowena messing with. It looks something different. So this would need to be someone with Lore Master or Alchemy could roll a cunning test to try to identify it.
Rowena, do you have a moment?
Yes. Sure. What do you have? Sorry, I'm kind of failing some things. What? Let me see.
Oh, no, you're fine. This was hidden in the floorboard here. It's outside of my scope, and, well, with Atolia gone, maybe it's something that you will recognize or know someone who will. Some sort of alchemy.
Oh, yes. Atolia knew alchemy. I'm not so much with the alchemy, but Jeff, you said Lore Master would also
Lore
work?
Master or Alchemy plus a cunning roll would be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Wow. Right on the dot. Okay.
15.
All right. Reyna, you have probably read about this. It's probably not something you maybe have seen because of your specialty. You're not really alchemically focused. But you might have read about something called Water of the Dusk. It is, especially when you're getting all this different information from like Gwydion and Jinzo and stuff about like the table, the veterans, the old uniforms, these monograms, things like that. You kind of piece together maybe a little bit, but the story is, the legend is, and whether this is true or not, no one really knows, but Water of the Dusk is said to have been created for the first time on the battlefield during the Great War. And it was just before like the hordes of the Dark Lords were about to swarm into Alberator. That's the legend, okay? Today, however, like the more fundamental stuff that you would know is that it's crafted specifically during the summer solstice. And it's essentially crafted by the most powerful theurgs in the service of Prios. The most powerful. It's like not an adept, not some low-level novice, not even a kind of newly elevated figure. Like this is something it's pretty special. And there's usually like a time when it happens, and it usually happens at Temple Wall, and like that big old cathedral and such. And so it's said that it could cure diseases, scare off beasts, that it could do, well, all manner of things, in fact.
Madjac, you should wrap this very, very carefully. herbal cures we can make and find and all sorts of things, but this is a very specific time, requires a whole lot of training, is very powerful. Take good care with this.
No. You take good care with it, Rowena. That's not my, that's nothing that I want to... No Prios
yes.
cures or anything
yes.
I'm interested in, so...
Yes, absolutely. I have just I just used... I made a little space when I was helping you, and so, yes. And she always has lots of extra little cloths and things, and so she wraps it very carefully and makes a note in her notes, as she is with kind of everything that we're seeing, and puts it in her bag. Yes, thank you, Madjac. I never
thank
thought
you
I
for
would
saving
hold
my
one of
life
these.
if I didn't say it before, so...
You are looking, and she's sort of looking at you as you're handing this to her, and she's just sort of, as she is taking it from you, she's just sort of looking at you, because we've been spending a handful of minutes here looking through things, and you know, she's someone that has...
Do I got something on my face? What's up?
Like, she has a permanent limp from old injuries, and you seem in the last, 10 minutes to have be a lot. You're...
He slaps her on the back. Oh, I'm fine, Rowena. You don't have to worry about me. I'm back to 100%, fit as a fiddle. It was just a flesh wound.
I see, and she sort of looks over to it where Atolia's body has been laid down as Gwydion is looking through things. Oh, I see. And she sort of puts her head back down, and she's kind of putting things away in her bag.
Okay. So between the monograms, between the stuff that you got from the dresser, the discovery, which was -5, by the way, and you had a differential of 9, Madjac.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was not an easy find, but you did. You're pretty sure you cleared this room of you've really kind of gone through it with a fine tooth and comb. What would you guys want to do next? It's still probably 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll say, between the fight, between the recovery, between the searching. It's probably been maybe been here for 45 minutes, hour at most.
Was that the second
do?
floor or all the floors?
Oh god, there's still the third floor.
Let's
You've
go
gone
up
for-
to the third
yeah.
floor,
Okay.
just to make sure there's nothing up there.
Fair enough.
All
Good
right.
find on this Dismas.
Hey, yeah, thanks, man. And you can see he's just sort of looking at Atolia with a really sad face, and he's just not really paying attention. Okay. Third floor. You start moving around. Definitely look like these were probably there's a couple different rooms up here, smaller, and you can get the sense that these are probably living quarters, bedrooms and things. They are not that now. You don't see any signs of beds or anything that might suggest that these are bedrooms. Most everything is dusty, empty. Got bare wooden floors. You got cobwebs in the corners, all that kind of stuff. There are some places that could have been some storage closets and stuff like that here and there. One thing you find, and it's not hidden, is that you can see in one of the rooms. It certainly looks like there are some bottles, some glass bottles, and it looks like some extra bits of kerosene and some rags. So your guess is maybe that this might be where they were making some of those fire bottles and things like that. But as you look around, there's nothing here. The windows are still covered, you still have all that. But you look around, you check the floors, you kind of kick the floorboards here and there again, check some of the baseboards and stuff. Doesn't seem to have any more hidden compartments.
We should wrap up it.
Yes, did we look at everything that there was to see on the first floor and in the cellar?
We checked
quite
the
thorough.
cellar, but I didn't. We bypassed the first floor unless you looked at it when you were here the first time.
No, we heard the commotion and we didn't. I suppose we should look at that a bit more carefully.
Yeah, once we leave here, they're never coming back. Once they see what's happened, that they've been compromised, they won't use this as a safe house again. So we should get what we can from it.
I hope so.
Okay.
Are we going to leave his body in the cellar? Are we doing anything with?
I think we should make it very difficult to identify him and then maybe shove him back in that little cubby hole that he was sleeping in.
I'll leave that to
Sadly.
you.
That's fine.
Okay, I'll go see what there is on the first floor.
Okay. If anyone wants to search the first floor, you just give me a vigilant test. As you peek around.
Ooh, did I get it? 5 under 7.
And I failed.
Wow.
Oh my
I'll
gosh.
try again to sit and catch my breath and sit with distance.
Wow.
Okay. Fair enough.
Fair.
So, Rowena and Madjac. Hey, you did it. You got
you
it,
go.
Gwydion. You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Madjac,
Result
Randy, split
margin
up.
13.
Jinzo, was there anything you were doing?
I think I'll help Madjac clean up the body, get rid of that.
Okay. So we'll say, Madjac, you do a quick look. You don't really see anything. So maybe you and Jinzo go down to the cellar. Gwydion, Dispus, you guys sit somewhere in that main room by the hearth. Two of you are looking at Atolia. You could tell he's very upset. Like, literally, was it yesterday she saved his life? Or was it today? It's been a very long day.
Oh my gosh, was
It's the
it?
same day, I think.
Is it? I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't
Could
slept
be.
yet.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you're all exhausted. He nearly died. Then the person who saved his life just died. So he's probably in the fields. And he didn't do anything to help because you guys moved faster and he couldn't find his way down. And yeah, so he's not feeling great.
Oh.
Rowena, go ahead there, Gwydion.
It's a hard thing. You can try and do the right thing all you want. It's a shit world. You can't be everywhere all the time. You can't do everything.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right.
But you
It's
do
just,
what you can
you know,
when you can.
It's just she was, she saved my life, man. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't save my life. She did.
I know.
You left me. And you're alive. And she
It's not
saved
fair.
my life. And she's dead.
So we both got to earn it.
I guess. I don't know, man. It's not fair.
Nope.
And he's just kind of, you can see he's just sort of there, just thinking really hard with the 7 or 8 brain cells he has. Rowena, you look around, you make a good sweep of the first floor. Don't find anything that really catches your attention. One thing is that you do notice that there in the kitchen, there do seem to be some like growlers and bottles of booze, most of which have been drinking. Jeez. Most have been drank. However, there are like 1 or 2 that aren't, and it looks like a black brew, like something like someone might have put in a growler or put in a bottle and bottled it up. But you take a whiff from it, black brew, fairly common brew. Most of the taverns in the town serve it.
And she kind of looks at this and thinks maybe this might be a gift for the gentleman whose home we're crashing in. So she'll grab the growler.
Oh, you don't even know his name.
Biletto?
That's not what I have written, but I did call it this. I have Biletto.
Biletto, yeah.
Well, that's it.
I don't have an R. I don't have an R in mine, so okay.
Oh, no,
All right.
I don't either. Biletto.
Madjac, Jinzo, you guys go down. You like scar up the face. Is that the idea?
Crush the head, burn the
Okay.
hair off.
Okay. And then you put the body into the hidey cubby.
Yep.
Okay.
And seal it back up as much as we can. Put the boxes back in front of it. The
Sure.
smell will eventually draw attention, but the rat should get to it first. So
That's true. Okay. So at this point, we'll say about an hour and 20 minutes has passed or so. You're not quite to 90 minutes here. It's probably been half that time since the fight or so. A little less than half the time. Actually, a little more than half that time. So maybe an hour since the fight. No one's come running. So you think maybe no one heard the fight. It's very, very late. You know that some of the people around here sleep, with their covers closed or whatever it might be, or they just might not have some of these homes, might not even be inhabited. Peralta, or now you got me doing it. Boleto is drunk. So you think, at the very least, that no one's come looking yet. So, with that all said, I'm assuming you're taking some of those books. I'm assuming you're taking some of those, the tabards, the uniforms and things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, yeah.
And Rowena, you're delivering the black brew, and you're putting the bottles like on his back porch there.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right. What next, guys? It's I don't know, 3:30 in the morning or so, 4 o'clock in the morning. Not quite. You got a little time still before sunrise.
No, we've got a long walk to get to Toli's mom.
So are we going?
I don't think we'll be able to get out during the night. We'll have to wrap her body and then take her out in the morning, I expect.
How far is Blackmore again?
It's just outside the gates.
Not far.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a quick walk out of the. Oh my god, my mouse just went nuts. It's just a quick walk out of the eastern gates. Doesn't take long to get there at all. It's more of a. You're trying to pass through the gates at a odd hour, which would raise an eyebrow. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it would raise an eyebrow. And you're carrying a dead body with you.
Let's wrap her, stay at Boleto's for the night to see if anybody else comes back to this facility, and then in the morning, we can just take her out and just tell the guards we're taking her home for a funeral, that she was jumped in the night by thieves. And
Yeah, let's sleep on it.
Okay. All right. So you all will sleep. You'll break back. You'll come back into Boleto's place, and he is in his chair, and he's in the same place you left him. He is blackout drunk to a degree. He is out, and you try to pass the next several hours. Madjac, you mentioned you wanted to see if anyone was coming or going. I want a couple tests. So let's start with first stealth for you guys to leave. As you leave that, cross over that shared yard to get to Boleto's. So give me that. We could just do person with the lowest stealth. All of you don't have to roll. Just give me the person with who's got the worst. Discreet, thank you. Who's got the worst discreet?
9.
Okay.
mine's a 10.
It's 11.
All right. Sounds like it's a clutch Gwydion roll.
Ray.
Come on, man.
Got it.
These are the types of rolls you crush, Jeremy. See? What did I tell you?
Fact. Okay.
What did I tell you? I don't know why you question it.
I don't know either.
Okay. All right, let me write something down.
So I've decided I'm actually a terrible barbarian, but I'm an excellent diplomat and detective.
Yeah. And apparently a great burglar.
Yeah, because I got that
Well-
clutch stealth earlier too on the dead body.
The exit was probably good. The entrance was not as
Yeah,
good.
the entrance is bad.
Okay. And then we'll say whoever's got the highest vigilant, go ahead and give me well, actually, no. Are you going to do this in shifts? You're going to do like a sleep in shifts kind of deal?
Yeah, I think we would. I mean, we've all got to get a little bit of rest.
Okay. All right. Let's do like maybe 3. So give me 3 of the 4 of you. Whoever's got the worst vigilant, you can pass on it. But the rest of you, give me vigilant tests.
Got a 9.
Succeed with a margin of 10.
Okay.
I failed
All right.
with a margin of 8.
All right, so we got 2 successes and 1 fail. All right. So we'll say the next several hours passes. You guys find places within this poor old man's home to curl up, sleep. At least one person is awake at all times, looking out the back, keeping an eye on the dark building. After the first shift, it's no longer that dark as the sun has started to rise. It kind of casts this vague orange-yellow glow over the backyard, but you can still see these long shadows from the building being cast in the yard. A couple more hours pass. You can see it's now bright as can be. It's no more, it's no more just dawn. Now it's actually fully mid-morning. It's around that time that you hear, What is this? And you see the old man kind of like freak out a little bit as he starts like, who the hell are you people? What the hell's going on in here? As he kind of gets up.
Come
and
now,
starts
Boletto. Come on, you remember
How do you know my name?
invited us over. We were drinking buddies last night.
What?
You said we could stay here the night since it was so late.
That sounds way too nice to be something I would do.
Well, we did buy several rounds, and we kept the ogre from bashing your head in, and we pulled you out of the pile of bodies after he tucked you outside.
Go ahead and roll persuasive there, Madjac. That's good. Okay.
You got this. You're good at persuasive.
Yeah, succeed with a margin of 5.
Okay, yeah, that does sound a little bit more accurate. I invited y'all here.
Yeah. Well, we brought some more drinks with us. We had a few drinks while we were here.
You got...
And you just said we could... There's still some left. Rowena brought you some more.
Oh, which one's Rowena?
She's asleep.
Oh,
What's sleeping there?
I want to wake her up.
I think you should.
Little hair of the dog action. I
Yeah.
got chimneys to sweep today.
Go over and whisper in her ear. She likes that.
he walks over. He gives you a weird... And he looks down at me. Hello, madam. You got any booze? Some brew? Hello?
Who are
Hey,
you?
you're sleeping on my
Who
couch.
are you?
Who am I? I'm the owner of this home that you were apparently invited to stay in.
Oh yes, but Boletto. Boletto?
Boletto. What?
Boletto. Yes, I have something for you.
Okay.
For you. And she kind of like wipes her eyes and kind of looks under her bags, and she goes, "Here," and just hands him kind of the...
Don't mind if I do. And he kind of grabs one, whatever kind of pops the cork on it. He's like, oh, just got to get a little of that juice going in the morning. There we go. Where did you put Atolia?
That's where Marina's looking around.
Because I feel like he's going to look over and see him. What is that? Right there.
Well, it's her funeral's today. We were toasting her memory last night. Don't you remember? That was the whole point. It's a wake.
You let her stay here over. You didn't burn her? What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, we have to take her back to her family for burning, you know. It's not fair for her family not to say goodbye.
You can't let... What? Now, he's an old man. He remembers the Great War more than likely, and he sees a dead corpse in his...
She's wrapped up. She's wrapped up.
You might want to poke it a few times just to make sure it's still dead. They're very...
She's been poked. She was poked pretty hard last night. Don't worry.
But they can come back. Don't you...
Go ahead, poke her then.
And so he'll come over, like, were I friends with her?
Well, yeah, of course. You bought her last round.
Kind of kicks her a little bit. Gently. Not like a big kick, just to make sure that she's not moving.
respectfully, just to make sure that...
He's being very careful about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't let it out of your sight.
Oh, we're taking her to her family right now.
Yeah, you all better get going on that. No offense or anything, but I don't want the ambiance of my home to be disrupted by that. That's some bad business. You brought that out drinking with us?
We appreciate you throwing the wake and all that. And that's why we wanted to make sure we gave you the extra drinks this morning.
I'm throwing a what?
You threw it last night here in your house after we told you all the whole tale how she suffered.
Huh. Man, I gotta stop drinking. I drink too much.
Good day.
Okay.
Never.
Well, Prios,
Thank you.
Bless you. And
Thank you very much.
Condolences to the family.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
escorts all of you out of his apartment or out of his house at this point, closes the door. Hopefully he'll never see you again. Okay. So, all right then. So morning time, it's mid-morning. You all have slept, we'll say you slept like maybe 6-7 hours or so. So maybe it's like 9-10 o'clock in the morning. Damage wise, let's just get this done really fast. Natural healing. So you all would have, we'll say through the night, regain a point of toughness if you need it. So go ahead and regain that.
Rowena also would have done some healing on herself with one of the herbal cures because she was all the way down to 2.
Right, roll your cunning test then to see if you can get your full D6. It's a success.
I got a full D. Where am I?
I think it's a D6 because you have the medicus
you're right,
ability.
because I'm not adept yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was looking ahead to what I can do when I'm adept. What do I get? I get 5.
That's pretty good.
Sweet.
It's very good. Very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And also, welcome raiders. Thank you, the Rebel pilot, for the raid. Appreciate it.
All right on. Thanks, man. Okay. All right then. So it's morning time. So Jinzo, Gwydion, you guys get your heals and everything done?
Yep.
Okay, Madjac, you're obviously back to full by now. Okay. You get out. You see you are in the eastern side of the actual town. It is busy. There's people on the streets. It is morning time. People are going to work. People are kind of milling about, doing this and that. So you are no longer like easily stealthing through these streets and alleyways. Even some of the alleyways have people in it working. You can see people have come out of their homes, and you can see that they're doing various crafts, fixing certain things, carpenters, kind of doing some work here and there, fixing some things, painting, that kind of stuff. So what's the plan? Like, what are we thinking?
How about Rowena lead us out as an Ordo Magica adept? We'll just be a funeral procession. We're taking Atolia's body. Gwydion holds the body. Jinzo and I follow up as honor guards, and we just walk out the east gate.
And Rowena, yes, I can do that. And so Rowena flips through one of the many journals that she's got, and I imagine she probably has something that she's researched at some point on kind of what this would look like and what maybe she would be sort of saying as we're making our procession to the gate to exit. So we try to make this look.
This is
like
more of a Church of Prios sort of deal than an Ordo Magica kind of deal. But if you're going to try, as you're moving through carrying a body, you're not that far actually from the gate you would need to go out, because the goal here is to go to Atolia's mom's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So you head south first, or maybe you actually just head east to the long way around, and so you're passing by fewer people, but you are passing by occasional guards up on the wall who kind of look down here. Most of them are looking outward, but eventually you find yourselves in the eastern square. And you can see that it is very busy. People are coming and going from the gates. You see people in wagons. You see people on foot. You see people on horseback. You see people coming and going. All sorts of activity, all sorts of business here. There's not like a great deal of. It's not like they're stopping people who are leaving as much as they are checking people who are coming in. So they're checking for various, because you have to have a license, or you have to have a sponsorship or something like that usually to be in here. And right now you guys are all kind of working under the Ordo Magica because of your pre-campaign rescue of Rowena. But you'll get to the gates, and you can see that you do draw some attention. You are a group of people carrying a dead body, wrapped up. And one of these guards one of the town watch will stop you. Pardon me there.
Yes.
What is happening here?
Yes, we had a unfortunate loss, and we are, as per custom, taking her outside for rites.
Well, she's far too big to be a goblin, so Why aren't you bringing
She's
her
a
to the
child.
crematoriums?
She's a child of Blackmore, and her mother is there. Her last request before she passed was that her mother would be able to see her body and be able to escort her for the proper rites. We would like to see that request made.
You are going to take her immediately.
Yes. With haste.
Absolutely.
Proper pyre.
Yes.
Friend of yours. How did she die?
She was killed in a mugging.
Mugging, you say?
We were drinking last night, and we found her in an alley, stabbed through. You may see the body if you wish.
Yeah. I would, yes. Did you report this?
There were no guards about, and none seemed interested this morning.
No
Save
guards
you.
about. That's quite concerning. Well, where did you say this happened? Which alleyway?
It was north of here, near the Black Brew Tavern, just south of it in an alleyway off there. We had been drinking that
Yes.
night.
Not the greatest of neighborhoods, I'm afraid to say.
We made a mistake having gone there. Having survived the pit and fighting off those creatures, we felt ourselves more invincible than perhaps we should have, and our dear friend paid for
You
that
fought.
celebration.
You fought at the sinkhole.
Yes.
Oh.
Indeed.
Yes. We have papers.
This one as well.
Yes.
Madjac, roll a persuasive. Take a +1. As you reference the sinkhole battle.
Succeed with a margin of 10.
Wow.
So as you're unwrapping the body, and you tell him that you guys all fought, including the one who died. He stops you, kind of puts a hand down. No, that will not be necessary. My condolences. Give my condolences to the family. You said by Black Brew.
Yes. Just there was one of the alleys just south of that's where we found her. When she missed a couple of rounds, we went looking, and
I see. Well, I will contact the captains, see if something can be done to look into it. To be honest with you, I doubt that they will be able to find the culprit very easily unless they strike again. But certainly we can do a better job. Ensuring the watch is properly protecting the whole citizens. Even those
just
who
the
come
fact
here.
that you're willing to try, just that fact alone, gladdens our hearts. It's good to know that you're here protecting us.
This one tried to protect the hold. And he kind of puts a fist to his heart. He kind of bows. May Prios take you. And he kind of he gestures towards the gate and kind of lets you guys go through. Okay. So travel is not long, not difficult. Country road, basically. It's very quick. You have no real issues. You meet a handful of people on the way who are traveling. You get a handful of odd looks, no doubt, as you are carrying a body with you. Generally, what I think any of you would know is that Ambrians have a very undead is not they have a very, very real and honestly justified fear of the dead, as everything south of the Titans is basically destroyed because of the uprising of the Dark Lords and the sort of the ghouls and Draculs and all kind of stuff. So you can tell that there are people who are shying away from you at this point. Others are kind of giving sympathetic looks, but no doubt there is definitely a you're not moving past without having been seen. Everyone kind of is making note of you, but they're also kind of letting you pass. But you don't get a cost along the way. There's no difficult moments. But eventually you find yourselves in Blackmore. Now Blackmore is not It's not like Thistlehold. There's no wall surrounding the place. There's some semblance of guards and things. There's not like really one way you're allowed to go in or one way you're allowed to go out. If you give me 1 second, I will get up the map for you so you can kind of see what the map looks like. And
So
it is a
know where
bustling...
Tolia lives.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead,
I
Jen.
know where she lived.
I'm glad. I hadn't thought about that yet, and I was a little worried.
Walking around the area is like, is this your dead daughter? Is this your dead daughter?
No, I had visited Atolia and her mother before. I know where she lives.
Okay, then you can do the talking. I don't know that I'll be good at that, but I'm very glad that she was given the respect that she deserved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One good guard at least in Thistlehold.
I don't
Okay.
know that I'll know what to say to her mom, but you can talk to her.
Okay.
I'll take care of it, Rowena. That's all right.
So, Kipster, if I could ask you, do you remember where your mom lives, where Atolia's mom lives?
The grubbery is what you're looking
Okay.
for.
Okay. So I just shared the map with you all. Y'all should have been. Can you all see it okay?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So basically this is a massive like tent city. So you see there's like very few buildings here that aren't at least partially constructed by fabric. And so you can see that that's what you're in. And it's a very poor place. You can see that there's also probably a larger percentage of like goblins and non-humans, barbarians and such as well, non-Ambrians. You can see that the roads themselves aren't properly paved the way that Thistlehold is. The drainage isn't great either. Like there are times when you pass by on the street somebody who is like hanging their laundry and they're still haven't gotten properly clothed for the day. Others they got like a little cooktop or like cooking fire outside of a tent and they're kind of getting things together. There's also lots of like different groupings of wagons that are almost being doubled as homes. And so you can see like these little circular or horseshoe shaped groupings where different families or different organizations are kind of working together. But for those of you who might have met Atolia's mother, you know that she has a place in the grubbery and that and then you know like exactly where to find her, Madjac. So you would know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So Atolia, I remember your mom is like a baker. Like she bakes some things and you take her goods to like Thistlehold to try to sell them for better. Is that the idea?
Yeah, so she is, or she was, the sort of the cook in the grubbery. Her name is Alevia. Alevaia. And it was banned from Thistlehold for unknown reasons.
Okay. So when you head into the area known as the grubbery, you can see all the tents and things like that. And you want to describe what your mom looks like as they kind of see the cooking fire area?
She is an older woman, probably early 50s. She is a little bit rounder and has kind of a serious look on her face. If anybody you see tries to like sneak a hand towards where her food and her sort of soup she's cooking is, she'll ladle them quickly on the wrists. It doesn't take any nonsense. She's kind of got where Atolia had an unusual set of hair. She has that curls, but they're standard normal brown. And she just kind of wears like a nice plain dress, a little bit yellow, faded yellow with an apron on it that's well splattered.
Okay.
Assuming Ambrian.
Yeah. Which is unexpected in a way.
Yeah, she once was the chef at the salons of Symbaroum, which is like one of the Toad Square areas thing. Okay.
You can also see she is feeding people for very, even if they don't have a lot to give, she'll give them a bowl.
And so we'll say you see her, like you see this big old cook pot, you see a handful of like benches and such here and there, maybe a scrapped together table or two, and you can see there's people eating. And as she turns around to kind of feed, she slops over some food and a nice big break of bread to some like kind of young kid who comes up getting the food. Somebody else is like sneaking behind her trying to steal extra bread. She wheels around, whacks them right on the wrist, and like stares up. You can see it's like, yeah, what'd you do that for? No stealing now. I said I'll give you some, and I'll give you some, but go around to the other side and get in the line like everyone else. And he's like, I'm sorry. And you see he kind of very abashedly goes around to the other side, kind of gets back in the line. So how do you guys want to approach this?
Is she working herself? Does she have others?
She's working.
So I think Madjac would say Gwydion to Jinzo, stay back with the body, away from the food. And then he would ask Rowena, come with me. He approaches her.
Okay.
Okay.
Mother Olavia.
Oh, Mother Olavia, who's that? Oh, I know you. You're one of Atolia's friends. Oh, yeah, I recognize the mask. Why do you wear the mask? I'm sure you've got such a pretty face underneath there. Show everyone your pretty face. Oh, goodness.
Perhaps one of these days, but I come bearing news of Atolia. Can you come with me for a moment, just over there? Rowena will take over for you for a few moments.
And Rowena's face is just the most somber looking face. Yeah, yes, I'll take care. Yes, I'll take care of this. And she like almost sort of avoids eye contact and goes over to the pot and starts just scooping again.
Okay. She's starting to catch on. You can see her face, which was, smiling, sweating from all the like the heat coming up from the like the stew pot, basically. And she's like, oh dear, what happened? Where is she? Is she here with you? Is she hurt?
Mother, she passed away last night. She was taken from us by fanatics. They struck her down and left her.
Fanatics?
I'm so sorry. Yes.
No.
We brought...
No.
She asked me with her last breath to bring her home to you. And so we have.
You see, she just like starts to... You can see like her weight kind of starts to sway.
Madjac just tries to support her.
Kind of guide her down to like one of these benches. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's like a couple people who kind of overheard this and like they're like scooting down to give her space here and there. Oh, no, I know she pokes around and things, but no, why would they want to kill her? No, why? Fanatics? What?
She was trying to protect Thistlehold. She was doing good work. And I will tell you this, as horrible as her loss is, and it crushes my soul, the bastard who killed your daughter died moments after she did.
Oh, goodness. She died. She's not.
I'm so sorry.
She was supposed to let me know, and she was leaving and coming and going. I kept telling her Thistlehold. She didn't need to go to Thistlehold. It's a terrible place. There's just a bunch of people there who they don't care about one another. Not like there. See these people helping one another, and now she's dead for it. No,
you're right,
are you
Mother.
sure?
Thistlehold. Yes.
She's do here. Things. Are you sure it wasn't just one of her tricks? She's got so many tricks.
No. I know she does. I'm so sorry. We've brought her home to you and all that she had. And then Madjac will pull out his purse. And he's only got 10 thaler, but he hands it to her. And he goes, this is to help you as you adjust as well. It's not much, but it's just...
She used to take my bread into town, you know. They wouldn't let me work there anymore, but they still liked my food, so she would bring it and sell it. And that's how we would pay for the extra things here so we can feed all these other folk. Oh, God. What am I going to do?
We have some friends. We know Father Sarvolis, and he owes us a favor. Oh. I'll see to it that one of his trusted associates comes each day to take your bread to town and sell it for you. Atolia's loss will not be your loss as well. You deserve to be cared for.
Thank you.
And we'll check in on you. Every time I'm here, I'll stop by to make sure that you're well. I could do no less for your daughter.
I think I'd like to see her now, if that's okay.
And he'll lead her over to her body.
And like, you can probably still take a guess. Like, there's still a part of her that's probably like, this is probably a misunderstanding. It's probably a mistake. This is probably not right. Like she was saying, like, you know, Atolia has so many tricks and spells and just the nature of what she is. So there's probably some level of that. But she comes over and she sees, oh no, and she sees like just the body at this point. But I would say between, you know, Jinzo and Gwydion, you can probably like carry her, but find a place a little bit more quiet than this. You know, you wouldn't want to do this here. And she'll kneel down right next to Atolia, and she'll unwrap a little bit, and then the wailing will come at that point because she sees Atolia's face, and Gwydion and Jinzo and Madjac, you're standing there, and Rowena, you could probably hear it. There's probably a lot of quietness that dins down as we just kind of fade from that for a few minutes as she's just there, like crying a mother's sadness over it all. At a certain point, though, like she'll get up, you know, some minutes will pass, some maybe longer, maybe an hour, and she's just maybe quiet for a bit. But at a certain point, she's like, we'll have to do right by her. Will you help me do right by her? You were her friends, weren't you?
Of course we will.
So we're going to. There are still a few of the fine theorics and such who work in the soup kitchen. Oh, where can I find? She's like looking around for somebody, and you guys would spy. I'll say anybody with halfway decent, you see like over maybe by one of the outskirts, like kind of cleaning up, taking back these like stoneware kind of bowls and things like that. There is what looks to be a fairly young man in very, you know, dirty but very clearly Prios robes. Like you can tell it's like this is a person of some sort of low level, not unlike Rowena, just a different coloring, right? And it looks like he's almost got that kind of classic kind of friar cut, right? And he's just like picking stuff up and like smiling at people, and like they're all, you know, kind of doing like a little small blessing here and there. And this is likely one of the people who work at, like there's a mission house, like there's a soup kitchen basically that Sarvola helped fund and start here, and then there's like his actual home, the station that you guys already. So this is more than likely one of them. And like, oh, there they are. Oh, come over here, Arthur. Come, can you go fetch him? Can one of you go fetch him? He's hard of hearing.
I'll get him.
So Jinzo, you go and you fetch him. Comes over and he's like trying to not drop all the stoneware, and he sets it to the side, and she just starts kind of telling him what happened. She's breaking up, crying as she does, but oh, could you make sure? Can we find a place? And the guy's like, I will take care of it. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. She'll be at peace. She'll get Prios's final blessing, the gift of light, the gift of fire. It'll be. Is there a spot that maybe she used to go or wander around outside of town somewhere? She might. We can set a pyre up there if you like. would there be, Kipser?
She did spend a lot of time collecting herbs when she could, so yeah, I think she pulled Gwydion and forced him to do it with her at one point in time. You guys know where she goes to do stuff outside of town.
We actually built a harness of wood right over here. She made me this really stupid vest that I could do pull-ups even though she had just patched me up to keep me from getting killed, and then I wanted to. It's stupid. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's what she did, though. She helped people. She patched folks up.
I know. This young man Dismas, she saved his life. Not one day passed.
He's like, he has been really quiet. Like, he hasn't really said anything. He's not trying. Cause we'll say at this point, maybe you guys are actually outside of the town. Maybe you've moved from the kitchen. It's maybe an hour or so later. You found this place, Gwydion. You've kind of led them there. You guys are all like collecting wood for the pyre. You know, standing this up, you can see the theater Arthur. He's kind of getting together some basic words to say and such. And Dismas like steps out. Ma'am, I'm sorry, couldn't save your daughter. She saved me first, but anyhow, she was real nice. And she was real nice, wasn't she? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm sure she's glad you're alive, and I'm sure she's glad that you are a friend of hers. Yeah, she says, looking around and seeing everyone else's faces to see if that's a true statement or not.
I don't have the fancy words that I'm sure that man will have, but she's going to live with us, with our love and our memory of her. We'll carry her light as best we can. She kept us on our feet, so we'll keep moving.
Okay. So we'll say, I just realized I still had the town music going. We'll say a montage scene of the pyre being built, seeing Atolia's body being rested gently by her friends, kind of picking her up, laying her on top of it. You can see the couple torches. At this point, it's midday. It's not like late at night yet, but this is taking all of the morning, early afternoon. We can see that if maybe a few other people who might have known her around the grubbery or such, or people who know Olivia, who might have just come, might be here too. So you see a handful of people, a couple people maybe say a few words here and there. You see Arthur kind of break open a book, say some prayers, whether or not, it's mostly for the mother, who is Ambrian, right? So there's probably some level of worship there. It kind of goes through this whole process. Does anyone say anything in this process? You don't have to. I'm just asking if anyone wanted to say anything before we lay Atolia to rest.
Was it publicly known that Atolia was a changeling or not?
That's up to Kipser.
Certainly, probably in Blackmore, it was kind of known, an open secret. But she would have kept it a little bit more down low in Thistlehold for obvious reasons.
I'll just offer my respects. I've only known her for a day.
Mm-hmm. Like two days. I think 2 days. Yeah. Maybe for 2 days. Okay.
She was fearless. She walked her own path. She chose her friends. She didn't fear her enemies. She'll be remembered always for her strengths.
You taught me so many things. I've got so many notes in my journals from all of the things that you tried to teach me. I wasn't paying attention like I should have, because you were so good at the alchemy and I didn't need to be, but I've got your notes and I'll look through your recipes.
I used to always feel so fucking angry when they would throw aspersions on account of her being a changeling. Because who doesn't wear a mask? Who doesn't show a false face when you're trying to pretend that you're brave or noble, or just pretending that something as simple as you say you're fine, even though you feel like life is ripping out a piece of your heart because another person you love is gone now. But anybody that would look at her, really look at her, would see underneath whatever face she might have shown you was just an undeniably beautiful soul that gave everything, every day, to anybody around her. And this world is fucking darker for her loss.
Then you see the priest come up, and he's got the torch in his hand, and he just looks out at everybody. You see the orange glow in his eyes. It's like, great trios, eternal light. We gather here in your radiance to bid farewell to our beloved friend and daughter, Atolia. As her sun sets on her earthly journey, we pray for her safe passage into your divine embrace, where the sun will never set. May your light guide her soul. And then he reaches out and he sets the first torch. And all of you probably have torches. So one by one, everyone kind of comes up and finds a different spot on the pyre, kind of lights this torch. And then everyone steps back and we just sort of drift from that, watching this blaze start to happen. And we'll fade out of that. Say some time will pass. We'll say whatever kind of ashes, remembrance that Atolia's mom wishes to take, she takes. We can say that whatever final words you wanted to say to the mother, or if you wanted to pass over any Thaler or any of Atolia's belongings, we can say that probably happened at some point as well. But we'll say some hours will pass. We'll say evening time maybe comes. The sun does in fact begin to set. The pyre is probably burnt out by then, and we'll say maybe all of you start your return journey. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd like to return before nightfall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll say that again, it's not a long journey to get back, and so you can get back to the gates just as the last rays of the sun are there, and you have the smell of smoke on you, of fire. You're exhausted. None of you have probably cleaned. You've barely eaten. Whatever you've eaten is probably just whatever you had in your pack, or maybe you grabbed something quick at the grubbery, or maybe she gave you some of her bread to take with her. And so you've been kind of on the go. And you don't really have a whole lot of trouble. It's a different guard shift, so you don't see the same person when you come back up to the eastern gate. But they don't give you trouble. You can show the sort of the signage, the licensing that you have, your association with Order Magicka, so everyone can get through just fine. And when you find yourselves in the eastern square at evening time, what do you think you all would do at this point?
Just really
Well,
resolved. Kind of poke the nest here.
We did, and Atolia had an idea of somewhere that we could go to lay a trap, but she took that information with her. So we need to explore other avenues with this.
Well, we do have some information to look into, and we might be able to get it from the Queen's legation. We've got those initials that Jinzo found. If those people are all minor nobles, then these initials may correspond with known minor nobles within Thistlehold. Might be a start. At least it might point us to some of these conspirators might be.
I've done research before. I have a contact that I could not so much with the Hall of Knights, but yes, with the Queen's location. I know a woman there. I've done research there before. I'm sure she would be, for the $1 an hour price, I could do some research there.
And well, I mean, we've got the 5 army coats, and there were 5 sets of initials, so maybe they were 5 soldiers who fought in the war as well. So they may be a little older. I don't know, but I'm drawing some conclusions just based on what we found. I don't know if any of it's accurate, though.
Yes. And Gwydion, didn't you say you actually had some names that you found in one of the
Yeah.
books are
I've
written
got
in the
books
dresser?
here still. Yeah.
'Cause I believe that, yes, some of those match the initials,
Mhm.
the names and the initials match. So I think we have 2 of the 5 names already. Oh, good poking around, Quidian.
Well, I
something
mean,
right, at least.
would it serve your purpose, Rowena, then to spend a night going through these journals that Gwydion found, and then in the morning attempting to track down any holes in the information that we have?
If I can, I do need to sleep at some point. But yes, I will research and see what I can find. Yes. And Jeff, if this place would be open at this time of night, I could go straight there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if there's hours listed in the book. It is evening. It is sunset. It is probably ending. So you're talking about the Queen's Legation, which is in the southwest section of the city. It's next to Nightholm, which is where Last for Night Pitch lives. So it's right outside the fences for there. It is the legate, the Queen's Legate is the official representative of Queen Corinthia here in Thistle. And so her reputation is one of sort of meticulous dutifulness, and sort of makes communications and tracks things for the Queen, so that the Queen is abreast of everything happening here. So
I can probably go spend the night where I do near Ordo Magica, be fresh and look presentable in the morning when I go.
Do we want to do that? We can fast forward too. There's no reason to play out the whole night. Yeah. Okay. So Gwydion, Jinzo, are you okay then with just saying, Jinzo, you return to your dad's, and Gwydion, you find you and Dismas go back up to wherever it is the 2 of you stay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I probably dig through personal things, and after thinking about it, we'll get out what was at the time a goofy thing, but find the weighted vest and give it to Dismas.
Okay. He'll take it. Oh, yeah, thanks. And he just kind of throws it over his shoulder. He's just super depressed. Okay. It's I was gonna go see my mother. That's all right.
Of course, I'll come with. I should get my comeuppance. So
no, I just want to see her. That's all.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to interrupt that, but I'll go with you, and then I'll stand aside. You do your thing.
Okay. So Jinzo, we see going home. We see his dad. You guys sit down. Rowena, you're back at your dorm, the little room that you have in Order Magica.
Yeah. Yep.
Gwydion and Dismas are at the High Chieftain's Envoy, and maybe they bunk up there for the night. Madjac, is there anywhere in particular that you stay? Are you going to?
Madjac would actually probably stick with Gwydion because he's a little concerned that there's a chance that we might have been made while we were out in that area. And he thinks Jinzo's probably pretty safe at his dad's. He knows Rowena's probably pretty safe, but the rest of us may be a little bit more danger. So figure we stick together.
Are you saying we stick out?
Yeah, hey, between my mask and these eyes, and well, you being you, we're noticeable.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay. All right. So we'll kind of cut through the night then. We'll say everyone gets a full night's rest. Unlike the previous night, you get a bed or something close to it. You sleep, you get a full meal for dinner, a full meal for breakfast. Your toughness comes back another day has passed. But at the very least, you are refreshed. You're ready to start the day again. Did you plan then? Were we going to meet up with Rowena, or was there a different plan in mind?
Yeah, head over to the
that
gate.
was the plan.
Okay.
I mean, we may not be able to go in with her, but we want to make sure that she gets in and gets out safe. So we'll post up around it.
So the Queen's Legate it's public. So I should say there's a section of it that's public, and then there's sort of a private wing as well. And so while it is the offices of the official the official representative of the queen, like it does have like one of the services it does offer is those archives. And so for money, like anyone can pay to have access. So it's $1 thaler per day. But we'll start up and we'll say we're right there. We're right, like kind of on the, right on the road outside of it. We can see to the south of us is Nightholm. But we see a brand 2-story building. It's got plenty of wood, of course, because of where we're at. You can also see there's some stone and some granite kind of fit here and there, and some like this lighter limestone. You can see there's all this ivy and these grand arch windows here and there, one or two that might even be open at this time of day. The route in to the sort of the public section is kind of adorned with a couple hanging lanterns that are still like low lit. They're not completely snuffed out. Not that they're even needed. And you can see that there are people here. There are people of different rank and file. Like you can definitely see that there's those that are more kind of lowborn, but you can also definitely see wagons moving past here and there or getting let out. And there's people of a finer garb. All of you, if you're here while you're standing outside and watching people come go ahead and roll a vigilant test as you do so. Vigilant, just sort of seeing as you come and go, seeing who's coming and going.
Aha, 1.
Nice.
Look at this guy, Jinzo. Okay.
Failed.
Okay.
I succeeded with a margin of 3.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so Jinzo and Madjac, you notice a few faces of some familiarity. You see a wagon kind of pull up at one point, and you see getting down from it is an older man, the latter side of middle age, early side of elder age, 60s maybe, something like that. And he's got a very stern look to him. He's well dressed, kind of a long face and a very pronounced nose. You would recognize him, Jinzo especially, I would say, because you are a name, you do an Ambrian in the area. Madjac, you would probably know by reputation as well. So this is Count Orgona, who is a relatively high-ranking noble of House Orgona. And you can see he kind of gets out, and he is talking with a few attendants along the way. He is not going to the same place you are going. You all are going into this main public house area. He seems to be moving off to the side, to like the western side of the building, which seems to be more associated with like kind of privates and here and there. Another time you see like another group of people show up. This time they're like on a couple of horses and things that are just kind of trotting through. And I'll say even Gwydion you would notice and recognize this guy. He's kind of heavy set. He's a big round face, friendly looking face. You can see he's got a little bit of a scruffy white beard, gray beard. He's definitely got like broken capillaries on his face, and he's got that kind of redness of a man who drinks significantly. You would know him, Gwydion, only as the sanitary commissioner, or the commissioner. That's all like people refer to him as, the commish. And it's because like that dude drinks. Like he is regularly found around Toad Square, like kind of going and doing all the various like circuits of like pub crawling here and there. Whenever he shows up, it's going to be a fun night. Jinzo, however, you would actually know his real name, and he is in fact the sanitary commissioner, but he has like this weird like nickname. You would know him as Agramai Kalfas, and he is he's a local politician, but people love him. He's one of the few politicians people actually like because he helps keep the streets clean. He's like in charge of like the cleanliness of Thistlehold, and you can see he's there, and he's definitely like kind of swaying a little bit on horseback, and someone has to come over and help him down and like escort him in. And you can tell that maybe he's coming off a hangover, but it looks like there's some sort of meeting of a handful of nobles and such. Otherwise, you can see people coming and going of again mixed, sort of a mixed background, and eventually you kind of push your way in. And you are all, again, this is like the core or the southern wing side. Think of it like an L, sort of like on its side with like one long background, and then on the eastern side of the building, it's a little bit longer there as well. So it's kind of like an angled building, and that's the side that you're going in. Public spaces, and then there's like a reception area, offices. You can see there's meeting rooms. There's plenty of people here. And you can see that you pass by others that are kind of waiting to talk to somebody here or there. You see what looks like a handful of folks moving and going. You hear the shuffle of like papers everywhere you go. And the wait it's not terrible, as you've gotten here early enough in the morning to kind of beat the line, but you do find yourselves like waiting in a very bureaucratic-like line at the DMV, so to speak, to finally meet with somebody. And Rowena, you do in fact notice somebody behind like the counter of this reception area. She is not a whole lot different in terms of age than you, in her early 20s. Her hair is tightly bound back. She has a very bird-like face. Her hair is almost like reddish in color. And she is as buttoned up as can be. And you can tell that the other person working, same kind of deal. It's a guy, same sort of build, same kind of look. They all look very very much like they're desk clerks.
Sure.
But you would know her as Perella. You would know her as one of the notaries for the Queen's Legate. And she is one of the people who is in charge of kind of giving people access to the archive. So when you come up, I'll say she recognizes you. And she's like, oh, well, hello there, Rowena. Just good to see you this morning. On another errand for Mistress Eufrinda, I presume?
Not exactly this morning, but it's good to see you. Have you been all right? With everything going on, did your family do okay?
Oh, yes. Most of my family isn't here in Thistlehold. They're back in Indaros. But work has been very busy. You might imagine the legate is under significant stress and pressure these days. There's, between the sinkhole and did you hear there are witches trying to gain access to the city? Right off the north gate. Can you believe it? It's been very difficult. It's been very difficult. It is a diplomatic crisis waiting to happen.
Oh, almost certainly. But you and your services are quite crucial to what everyone is doing here. So I thank you. I thank you very much.
Well, am I to presume that you're going into the archives again?
Yes. I've got a group with me. We are...
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
I didn't realize you were... Oh, hello. Oh, gosh. And he kind of looks at who's with you. Madjac with the mask, pretty intimidating. Gwydion, barbarian. Oh, goodness. And then Jinzo, who Jinzo looks okay. Okay. Whoa, okay. Quite an interesting crowd you have brought with you today.
Yes, and we have our payment. And so he kind of pulls out her thaler.
Well, are all of you going into the archive?
Rowena, I don't need to go in there. You do you. Well, I'll be out here when you're done.
I'd love to go in.
Yes.
Madjac gave all of his thalers to Atolia's mother, so he's
so
broke.
generous. He's got no doesn't have 2 thalers to rub together.
Not a single one.
Well, normally it's 1 thaler per person per hour, but because you're working together, 2 thaler will do in the Queen's name, and all of you could descend if you like.
Oh, Madjac, you can come. We don't have to pay anything extra.
Thank you.
She leans across. She makes a motion to Rowena.
Yes.
Does the big one know how to read? She whispers in your ear.
You know you're not the first to ask the question, but yes, he can.
Oh, well, excellent then. Oh,
yes.
Well, we are bringing civilization to them, so...
Oh. And she just sort of like
She whispers all this. This is just what you,
Yeah.
you leave.
but she just still gives her that sort of like friendly sort of tongue clucking, like kind of gives her that look like, oh, come on.
Like when you have relatives from Mississippi that say stuff you wish they wouldn't.
Right. Well, and she kind of presses the thaler into her hand, and kind of presses her hand. Thank you so very
course.
much.
You know the process, of course. There are others down there, so keep to yourselves. Sometimes others want the books as well. If you want more time, just say so, and we'll come fetch you. Otherwise,
Thank you.
Good luck. Happy hunting.
Yes, thank you very much. It's very good to see you. And Arena's sort of like, with the loss of Atolia, sort of overly like, I appreciate you. It's good to see you. Like a little like clingy almost, maybe. That Perella might be a little like confused as to why Arena's being so like nice.
So we'll say we go down into the archive. Huge cellar, dimly lit. Got shelves of scrolls, tomes. Got these wrought iron sconces that are casting light everywhere. Again, sound of shuffling papers, of tomes being turned, a smell of aged paper and ink. You hear the sounds of quills scribbling and such. And there's other people down here doing research. And all of you start looking, right? All of you give me a cunning test as you start going through the various
Are you wanting us to help you with research, or do you care if we try and look up our own stuff?
Well, I think we all have notes of different things that we found, so I think we can all look at what we need to look at.
Like Woody wants to look up something that's not at all related to the main.
So we got free access to the archives.
Like we talked about Helenor, and like there was the sister that died at some Weeping Willow. He wants to try and look up information about that.
Yeah, it's less likely they would have that though. This is more like Ambrian history. Okay,
but this is like a place that has lots of knowledge.
Okay.
We rolled like the span of things.
Okay.
I've read books in my younger years, but I've spent more time with the sword in my hand.
He has the book backwards. He's trying to read it upside down.
Nat 20 for Jinzo.
Okay.
Rita rolled a nat 1.
Acing the cunning.
Okay. So am I presuming you guys are doing follow up on various names and things that popped up in the things you found?
The sigil, the jumping salmon sigil, and the names, and yeah.
I'm looking for picture books.
Picture books. Well, Jinzo, you do in fact find one, as you do somewhat, as it does have various images in the house heraldry of various houses within Ambria, and as you guys are looking through, you're doing research, pulling out this tome, this scroll, that scroll. You first notice, the first thing you find is that symbol is in fact for House Salamos. So, and as you read about House Salamos, you know it's an old Ambrian noble family. It has a fairly heavy historical significance. There is probably a book or scroll you read about Leandro Salamos, who is probably the most renowned and most famous member of that family. They're long since passed. They're a light bringer, in fact, and the 12th month of the year is named after them. So Leandro, so not the equivalent of December. The Ambrian calendar is kind of a little different, but it's similar. And like the story is that that Leandro Salamos kind of convinced King Inadar to basically embrace the sun god Prios, to make it this is our one true god instead of the other smaller gods. And so that kind of helped Prios become this national religion and really sort of increase the Sun Church's influence. But they died in these acid storms during the Great War and stuff. So you find that Cargo Salamos is a living member and has a residence in Thistlehold in the southwest. Not too far, in fact, from Ordo Magica, not too far from where you guys are at right now, just a couple blocks to the west.
Is that Carmos with a K?
Kargoi Salamos, Salamos.
It does match one of the initials.
And one of the names, I think.
You also learn that Kargoy Salamos was a soldier in the Great War. He's of a more advanced age, and you know that he also was known to have fought with two people, Roya Garlaka, and then a name that Madjac will suddenly might crystallize for him, Serix Ateo, who's from House Ateo, very noble family, known to have very unwavering loyalty to the crown, kind of just it's whatever, the crown is all. There are two like known living like sons right now. Two figures of note. One of them, Heracleo Ateo, who serves as the keymaster in Indaros, which is like a very significant political seat. But then there's also Serix Ateo, who is a fairly troubled individual with heavy drinking, a volatile temper, but he's a mountain of a man, and occasionally he takes jobs at Mihira's agency, including one that he just got taken away from him just a few days ago with great anger, and all of you saw this man fighting at the sinkhole. Well, those of you who are at the sinkhole. So that's the name that pops up.
He's my new personal hero.
Did you say that the first guy was a ringmaster or keymaster?
Keymaster. That's the brother's name. Like, so Serix is like the bad, the brother that didn't really amount to much. Yeah, so to speak. Okay. So the other thing you notice, as you start looking up names, you start looking up associations, you start looking up, since so many of these monograms and things like that seem to be associated with like houses and stuff, you start tracking. It's taking a while. At one point, you pull down like what looks like I would say it's like a hierarchy or a lineage of like different noble houses and things like that. And there's a few more that a few names you start to try to figure out with your acronyms or with your initials. So you find a few that maybe make sense. It's about this time though that I'll say, Madjac, you notice that you all have been being watched. Like this whole time as you're like pulling down these various noble books, reading through it here and there. Like there's other people down here, but everyone's kind of keeping to themselves. No one's really bothering anyone. Like everyone just kind of does their thing. But you notice that you're like there's someone in the shadows just kind of looking out at you. And this is where I finally get to say, Kipser, what does this person look like?
So Madjac, you look over and she is a woman that initially looks like she's dipped in black. She has this long jacket, full-length gloves, and she's got these knee-high boots with heels that are all black. And as you look, you do notice there is a blood-red slash around her waist. And as she starts to move towards you, sashaying almost, the inside of her coat opens up and you'll see the inside is also black. She's this long sort of almost wild but controlled hair, black again, and she smiles a little bit at you as she walks forward directly.
Does her red sash look like the red sashes of the people
Not
that
quite.
attacked Father Sarbo?
Yeah, I did think about that being a problem.
The whole library's on fire.
Different shade. Different shade. And
It's more maroon.
she'll kind of look at you and look at all of you and go, darlings, I was looking for you. So glad to finally meet you.
Well, milady, I can't say that we've been looking for you, but perhaps if you introduce yourself, we can all enjoy one another's company.
You may call me Nazca, and you'll find me very helpful from here on out.
You look like you dressed for a funeral, but you're a day late.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Nazca, most of the people that we've been meeting recently have been absolute bastards and trying to kill us. So I'm going to take your recommendation with a grain of salt, and well, why don't we why you're going to be of such benefit to us, and you can pay.
Oh, I'm not paying, but you will find I'm not immediately trying to kill you. I am a bastard, though. We'll have fun together.
It's over.
Madjac looks over at Rowena. Rowena's like, he's like, should we just kill this person now? Because
and Rowena just sort of like looks at Madjac and is sort of like, still a little bit on edge. And so she's just going to kind of extend a hand. Very nice to meet you, Rowena.
Ah, charmed. So, you're looking into some noble families, it seems. I'll help you with that.
Oh, that will be so helpful. Yes.
Let's say that Rowena, maybe you have like your notes out and you can see these initials. And so Nazca, you're like looking down, you can see the initials listed and you can see one of them, Kargoy Salamos. You would probably know where he lives. You know that name. Serix, Atio, same thing. But then there's 3 others. Doesn't really kind of seems like they've sketched a few different ideas, these few different names down. None of them really make sense. Like you see one name, like, well, that person's been dead for 10 years. Oh, that person, they don't. No, I don't think so. They're 3 years old. And then this one, that. So you just kind of start going through, and then you notice IB. You would probably hazard to guess, Nazca, that this might be Isedra Baraka of House Baraka, with an Isedra being a very estranged from her family to some degree. And then you see another one, very curious one, maybe cocks an eyebrow. As you look down, you see Ephraim Dressel is of House Dressel. Very odd, low-born family, low-born house. A house that no one's entirely sure exactly how or when or why they've gotten the types of influence that they've gotten. But every one of them is very, very odd. And Ephraim Dressel is a quite curious one. He's basically a thief as far as your understanding goes. And one by one, you just can start going through each one of these lists, like every single one in this list. And you can immediately dismiss this as an idea, that as an idea, and you know that one. All these names, you would probably know who they are, whether or not they live here, and a thing or two about their families. And unfortunately, I feel like we should probably end there, and we'll pick up on that next time. Thank you, Christopher. I know it's been a very long time since you got to play, but we'll probably end on that, and we'll pick up there with our new possible party member, or we have a fight in the library. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
But she's got faint, so I'm pretty sure she can take you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she's probably mean enough to kill Madjac pretty damn fast.
Yeah, she said she was looking for me in the library. I know she's a liar. Nobody expects the barbarian in the library.
I love what you said. The red sash. I'm like, I wonder if someone's going to make a kid. Oh, there it is. They made the connection.
I know. I thought about. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I knew that was going to happen.
That was funny. But you got to hear all of us say nice, wonderful, and sad things about Atolia.
I did. That was very
You got a funeral. People were
I got a funeral for my character.
Awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. I can't wait for the next one. When
I know. I'm going to die so quickly.
Oh, God. Not necessarily yours. Jerry was like, I'm sure the Prius guy will say something smart. I'm like, so I'm like over here quickly typing something.
No
like,
pressure.
Oh, jeez.
Pressure.
Gotta put that together. All right. Okay, so that's it. Next week we'll pick up with Nazca fully into the party and able to take actions and do stuff. But let's go ahead and close it down and do some plugs. So Aaron, what's going on with Garbuck?
Next week, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check out some more Imperium Maledictum. It's a fantastic campaign that they're running over there and well worth the watch. And then on Thursday, Pete will be back at the same time with some more Mothership.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Let's see. As for us, tomorrow night, Aaron, what do we got going on? What are we doing here?
We are back with Cubicle 7's Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, and we're starting our final adventure arc. So my last chance to murder some players. I've failed miserably
Mhm.
at this point. I've only gotten one of them during the entire campaign, but I'm going to do my best to see what we can do starting tomorrow night.
If you don't kill Melissa's characters, I mean, honestly,
I'm like
Steven
a
and I are
complete
just going to
failure.
kind of look at you. We're just going to be like, come on.
It's just
This
a
is
complete
hard.
failure.
Just
This is-
off
I know.
brand.
I mean, I've tried.
You almost got her on the train too. Remember?
Almost
When
got
she
her on
tried
the
to
train.
jump? Almost got her on the train.
So close.
So very close. Okay, and then Saturday, next game after that, we got Call of Cthulhu. Monday, we're back to Fragged Empire. Tuesday, we're off as Steven has broken his contract and apparently announced the hiatus without consulting the rest of us. So there's that.
We were shocked. We were shocked.
Quite
I need
shocked. None of us knew
time.
this.
I need
No
time
one's
to
done it.
process the latest of my character deaths.
I'll be
I'll take
weeping
it.
on Tuesday.
Yeah. We should do something. I don't know.
Who?
We'll see.
Who?
Yeah. Maybe we'll figure out something to do at some point. And then Thursday next week, more Symbaroum, as we can maybe see a Nazca and learn a little bit more about her and see her in action. I'm actually really excited to learn a little bit more about her. But that's all we got. Let's go ahead and raid somebody. We're going to do Insomnia Night RPG. They're playing something. Stuff's bouncing around on their screen. So follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out. For those of you who are watching or listening to this later, appreciate you as well. We'll see y'all later. Goodbye.
Good night.